Then people start to like their content, so they grow even more. So people like them even more, so they grow even more, and they just grow and grow and grow. Hey everyone, my name is Grace Wells, and today we're going to be talking about Instagram captions. Why are we going to be talking about Instagram captions? Because I spent an entire year researching Instagram captions, and then I wrote my master's dissertation on Instagram captions. And if that's not a good reason, I don't know what is. No, but seriously, I spent the last year researching what makes an effective Instagram caption and how do influencers use captions to engage their audience. And I have so much information that I've built up over this period of time. I literally wrote a whole 75-page paper on it. I thought, how can I share all these awesome insights with everybody? And this seems like the best way to do it, unless you want me to send you a copy of my paper, which I bet you don't. So let's just get into the reason we're all here. I'm very briefly going to tell you how I conducted this study, just so you know that the information I'm giving you is actually legit and I didn't just make it up out of thin air. So for this study, I conducted research on a company called fabfitfun. And if you haven't heard of fabfitfun, it's a beauty lifestyle subscription box company that runs out of the United States. So I use this company as a case study to see what kinds of captions are effective in influencer marketing and on Instagram in general. So I searched for the hashtag fabfitfun on Instagram, and I found some of the most recent posts that had been sponsored by this company. So posts that were posted by influencers, but which were paid for by fabfitfun. And these posts were written by a variety of people. You had celebrities, you had bloggers, people in the entertainment industry, people in the fashion industry, people with millions of followers, people with 5,000 followers. I looked at all of the posts, I compared their captions, and I tried to see, are there similarities? Are there specific patterns that influencers and micro-influencers use in their posts in order to promote products, promote themselves, and basically in order to make a living off of Instagram? I wanted to know the secrets to their success. What makes a successful Instagram caption? I'm just gonna list off all the boring variables I looked at just because science. Personal pronouns, verb tense, verb aspect, verb mood, temporal deixis, spatial deixis, evaluative language, voice, and lexical identity markers. Never do a master's degree, guys. It sucks. Don't do it. When I compared these 14 captions, I found that there were, in fact, 3 specific strategies that people who make a living off of Instagram use in their captions in order to be successful. I mean, this is important, guys. This is important information. Because here's the thing about Instagram. When you have all these different businesses and all these different people trying to promote themselves in one space, it becomes flooded, it becomes inundated with information. And that's what kind of classifies Instagram as what we call an attention economy. All everyone is doing on Instagram is investing money into catching your attention, into catching your eye, into making you stop scrolling for just 1 second to read their ad, to read their caption, to look at what they're doing. And so if we can identify certain strategies that help us to do that, that help us to grab people's attention and pull them in, and that actually work for certain influencers, that's gold. All right, so how do these influencers compete in a crazy cutthroat attention economy like Instagram? Broadly stated, these strategies are self-branding, synthetic personalization, and calls to action. I'm going to explain each one in more detail, but I'm going to give you also kind of a blanket umbrella strategy that encompasses all 3, and that is kind of the basis and the foundation for why all 3 of these strategies work. All 3 of these strategies work because they form a personal, intimate bond with the audience. A person does not become an influencer overnight by posting a specific piece of content. A person becomes an influencer by months and years of consistently posting content which helps to build an emotional connection with their audience, so that that audience member now cares about what's going on in their life and what they're doing and wants to be like them and looks up to them. So that dynamic between producer and consumer, where the consumer is genuinely personally invested in the life of the producer, that is what influencer marketing thrives upon. It would not exist if not for those intimate emotional bonds between these 2 people who at the end of the day don't even know each other. A lot of the times I hear people say, oh, influencers are lazy and they don't have a job and what they do isn't real. Like that's not a job, that's not work. And actually it is. Influencers fall into a category of laborers, an actual academic category of laborers called effective laborers. What effective laborers are is people whose job it is to create an emotional connection with somebody. So other examples of this would be people like care workers. Obviously, care workers have tons of responsibilities on top of just that effective labor. But part of a care worker's job is to create an emotional connection with the person that they're looking after. So as an effective laborer in an attention economy, an influencer's job, their literal job, is to make people like them, trust them, and to form a community. Once they form that community, once they form that bond of trust, once they form that intimate connection between themselves and their followers, that's when a brand can come in and exploit that connection and use it to their own benefit. Pay that influencer to essentially push their products onto their followers, and that's how the brand benefits, that's how the influencer benefits, and that's how we get taken advantage of. So that is the general strategy. The general strategy for being successful on Instagram and for making money off of Instagram is having an emotional connection, building a bond with your audience. And these 3 strategies that we're now going to talk about are ways that influencers do that with their captions. Ways that they build that bond in their captions. All right, so the first strategy that I found in my study creates a more intimate bond between content creators and followers is self-branding. You are creating a relatable persona that people can look up to, that people can connect with. So how do you do that in a caption? You tell a story. No, seriously, you tell a story. You tell your followers what you ate for breakfast this morning, how you're feeling today, what's going on in your life. Because once you share those personal details with people, that's how they feel like they can relate to you even when they just don't know you at all. In an ecosystem, in an environment like Instagram, where you're not actually talking to someone face to face, we still need to replicate the same sort of methods of communication that we use in real life in order for this communication to be effective. And what we do all the time in real life is small talk. We're constantly telling people what we ate for breakfast, what we're doing next weekend. These are the kinds of things that don't seem very important, but they help to build those bonds with people. So in order to self-brand, in order to create a relatable online persona that your followers can relate to and that your followers care about, you gotta let them in. You gotta tell them about your life. You gotta share little stories about what's going on with you that will make them feel like they're in on the loop. So I'm just gonna give you one example from a micro-influencer called Mrs. Anna Mills. Her entire Instagram feed is based off of the fact that she is a wife and a mother. So she uses a small story technique in her caption when she says, "It's so ironic that they include the cheese plate because my husband was just telling me I need to work on my food presentation skills." For context, she got a FabFitFun box. It had a cheese plate in it. She was excited. But what she's doing here by telling this very anecdotal and seemingly irrelevant story is she's just trying to connect with her audience. She's trying to say, hey, followers who follow me because I'm a mom and a wife, let me just remind you that I'm a wife by telling you about what my husband said. If we look at another influencer who has far more followers, this is at Talia Storm, she's a singer, she does exactly the same thing. A slightly different kind of story, but exactly the same thing. She says, "Just finished rehearsals and my first ever FabFitFun box has just arrived for the autumn. I am so happy." Because whoever is following Talia Storm is following her because she has created this personal brand as a singer. And so she is constantly putting that personal brand into everything she does. Even in these little tiny anecdotal stories, she's saying, "Just finished rehearsals." She's reminding people why they're there in the first place. You are creating a personal brand by telling people who you are and what you do on a daily basis and being consistent in that. If you are a singer, you talk about your life as a singer. If you are a mom, you talk about your life as a mom. And you talk about it in the same way that you would talk to your friends about it over a coffee, or you would talk to your mom about it on the phone. Getting like amped up. I'm so excited about this. It's been a long year, guys. Okay. The second strategy that content creators will use in order to create that personal bond with their audience is synthetic personalization, which is basically just a really fancy way of saying talk to your audience directly. Because here is the classic catch-22 with all advertising. And before you say, I'm not advertising, if you have a personal blog and you're using Instagram in order to promote it, you're advertising. The classic problem with all advertising, print media, digital media, television, all of it, is that you have one business trying to communicate something and hundreds, if not thousands of people they're trying to communicate to. And they're trying to communicate that message to each person and connect to each person on an individual level. So how are you supposed to do that? How are you supposed to create so many unique personal bonds with so many different people with one ad? It's called one-to-many communication, and it's a total mindfuck. So here's how you do it in the caption. You address the person reading the caption as if they are the only person or one of a select few of people who are reading that caption. You talk to them in the second person. So you either say you all, you guys. I mean, you guys is a classic one. Everyone on YouTube is like, hey guys. I mean, I probably did at the beginning of this video, right? Probably. So if you're like Geordie Shore Queen, Vicky Pattison, and you have 4.5 million followers and you're supposed to connect with them emotionally, you say, if you guys want to sign up to get your own FabFitFun box, you can use my voucher code. She is talking to you. She is talking to her strong, tight-knit community of 4.5 million followers. And it simulates a real-life conversation because you're using that second-person pronoun to talk to that person. That's what synthetic personalization is. There's other ways of doing this too, not just the pronouns you're using. Another method would be asking a question, because you wouldn't ask a question to someone unless you were talking to them directly. So when someone like @TheTidyBee asks, can you relate? That's a rhetorical question. She's not really asking you that question. The reason she's put that question in her caption is to make you feel like you're having a conversation with her and that you can relate to her. So that's the second strategy. We've got self-branding through storytelling, and we've got synthetic personalization through using the second person, through asking questions, and to making it feel like you are having a dialogue. Like it's not just one person, it's a two-person exchange. And finally, the third strategy is calls to action. Now, calls to action are something that have been pervasive in advertising since the dawn of advertising, because the entire point of an advertisement is to say, go buy our product, go to the store, go pick it up, hurry, go get yours today. That's what the point of an advertisement is. They're calling you, inciting you to action. Now, you might be thinking right now as an everyday person who's just trying to grow their account that maybe this strategy doesn't apply to you because you're not trying to advertise a product. But trust me, it does, because calls to action work very differently on Instagram than they do in every other form of media, of marketing, of advertising, etc. Calls to action on Instagram are not go buy our product, go get yours today, go freaking spend all your money on our website. Calls to action on Instagram are give me a follow, give me a like, tag a friend, leave a comment. These are calls to engagement, not calls to purchase, calls to engagement. So if you just have a regular personal account, or if you're self-employed and you're just trying to build your online presence, this really does apply to you, because online presence is all about engagement. Engagement is key. So how do Instagram influencers, people who literally make a living off of Instagram, how have they perfected the art of using their caption to promote engagement? How do they do it? Well, they basically just tell you to engage. Now, it may seem like far too direct a method to simply tell people, this is what I want you to do. It may seem too self-serving. And this is how Instagram influencers avoid appearing self-serving when they're crafting these captions, when they're telling people to engage with their content. They embed these calls to action, these calls to engagement in a dialogue. They give them context. So it's not leave me a comment below, it's what's your favorite product from the fall FabFitFun box? Let me know in the comments below. It's not simply tag a friend, it's tag a friend who needs this box. They contextualize their call to engagement. So they are directly saying to you, engage with my photo, give me likes, give me comments, help me grow my account. But they do it in such a way that forms a bond with the audience by saying, oh, I have a question for you. Let me know in the comments below what your answer is. It's a little more friendly, it's a little more personable. And this is the way that these influencers craft their influence, because they are simultaneously building a bond with their audience by being friendly and being personable and feeling relatable, while they are directly telling their audience to do all these things that will grow their account. So it creates this never-ending, exponentially growing cycle of, oh, I like this person because they're nice and they're relatable, so I'm gonna like their content because they told me to. Then people start to like their content, so they grow even more, so people like them even more, so they grow even more, and they just grow and grow and grow because they're simultaneously asking people, this is what I need from you, but also let's be friends. And it's this whole notion of let's be friends that makes this the third and final puzzle piece of the overarching strategy of effective labor, of creating an emotional connection with your audience. Content creators who are successful on Instagram and who make a living off of Instagram do these three things to make sure that they are building an emotional connection with their followers. They create communities of people who give a fuck, communities of people who care about them, communities of people who will be loyal to them, who will be loyal to their brand, and communities of people that at the end of the day will make them money. All right, guys, that is it. Those are the secrets, the juicy secrets that I have to share with you today. I have so much more to say. I mean, this study is 80 pages long. I spent a full year on it. I can't even tell you how many layers there are to this, but these are just like the key things that I thought were really important to share with you that I thought you might be interested in. If you want to know more about this, let me know. Leave me a comment below. See, I'm doing it right now. It's hardwired, isn't it? Leave me a comment below. Let me know what you thought of this video. Let me know if you'd like to hear any more about this study because I have plenty more to share. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the subscribe button so that you can see all of my future videos. Thanks so much again for watching. Keep on shooting and I'll see you next time.